Hello and welcome to my channel, You Are The One, where we talk all things law of assumption to help make your manifesting journey easier and more fun. And today we are talking about resistance and how what you are resisting is actually affirming what it is that you don't want. And so I'm going to share with you how to get out of that cycle, so stick around. My name is Hedley Derenzie. I am a qualified life coach and author specializing in the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville. It is the stories that we tell that create our reality. So if you want to change any part of your reality, then it helps to know how to change the story first. And if you want to create the most amazing reality, it helps to know how to tell the most amazing stories and hold them long enough for your reality to catch up and reflect it back. If you would like support with this, I am available for personal law of assumption coaching. I also have a free 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course, which is the ultimate story that you want to be telling. And I am on Instagram. You'll find all of those details in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. Okay, let's get into it. So today we are talking about resistance and how your resistance to something is actually affirming it. And where this comes from is because there's often comments, or I'm talking to somebody and they'll say something like, I don't want to affirm it, or I don't want to talk about it, or, that's not something that I don't even want to say it because I don't want to affirm it. And immediately in that moment, what I hear is resistance to whatever that thing is that they're not wanting to say, or they're not wanting to affirm, or they're not wanting to even give any attention to. That is resistance. And resistance is a very active state of consciousness. Resistance is creative. Resistance is very powerful. And I'm sure you've had the experience where you've resisted something in your reality or even in your thoughts, like you don't want to bring it in, but you're having the thoughts of it. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to say it because I don't want to affirm it. You can feel the energy of that. Like, it's powerful, it's gripping, it's scary because we're afraid of it, which is why we don't want to deal with it. You've also experienced where you've had a resistance to something and then that has been outpictured in your reality and you're like, oh my God, wow, I've totally created that. So like your worst nightmares come true, that sort of stuff. And I hear it a lot in relationships, and there's a lot of fear around the third person. Like, I'm having all these thoughts that he or she is out with other people, or that they might meet somebody else, and they're going, but I don't want to affirm it, or they like, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm hearing, well, that's exactly what you are on track to creating based on the energy that is running through your body right now. So let's talk about this thing called resistance. Resistance is just fear. And when you are in resistance, it means you're fearing yourself. Now, why would you be fearing yourself? Because you've fallen out of believing that you're consciously creating your reality, and you've fallen into the default position, which so many of us are familiar with, which is that reality is happening to you, and that there's something outside of you that's happening to you, or that this person is outside of you, that these thoughts that you're having are somehow out of your control. Now, anything you resist, it's like an anti-affirmation because you're not directly, or it's an indirect affirmation because you're not directly affirming it, but your resistance to it, so you're avoiding it, is affirming it. Now, why would that be? Because when you resist something, something's coming to you. In order to resist something, something has to come towards you. Something wants your attention. And to resist it means you have to push back. Now, if you're pushing back on something, it means you're avoiding something. It means you're trying to get away from something. And now you know in these teachings, you cannot avoid, get away from, get rid of anything because it's all within you. It's all happening within you. Anything you're trying to get rid of, guaranteed will show up again in some other form. If you're trying to get rid of somebody, you might get rid of them in the 3D, but guaranteed the characteristics will show up in another form somewhere down the track because you haven't dealt with why they showed up in the first place. And why they showed up in the first place is to remind you that, and to awaken to, that you are consciousness, you're everything, you are all states. All possibilities, all capacities, all potentials exist within you, and anything that you resist is you resisting you. And part of this awakening is awakening to that we are everything. We are infinite consciousness. We are the divine nature in physical form. And this is we're just awakening to all of these parts of ourselves, the contrast that we've created in this physical form. So resistance is just the fear of yourself. Now, what do you do when you are experiencing resistance? So whenever I hear that with anyone, whether it's a friend or a client or whatever, I'm just going, whoa, 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 slow it down. You cannot create something just by affirming it. Remember, affirmations don't create reality. Affirmations, oh, little Dora's, can you hear that? Little Dora's having a nightmare. Soppy, it's okay. Yes, Baba. By you affirming something, by you acknowledging something, does not mean that you're automatically going to create it. It has to be accepted by the subconscious first. Affirmations don't create reality. Affirmations create assumptions, and assumptions create reality. Come face to face with it. So bring it in. Anything you're resisting, stop resisting it right now and bring it in. If you are afraid that a third person is going to show up in your reality, bring it in. Bring in the story that you're afraid. Bring it into your awareness, knowing that affirming something doesn't create reality. If you persist with that affirmation, then it will create reality. So whether you do that consciously or through resisting it, then yes, that will be accepted into subconscious. But becoming aware of something, acknowledging something that is going on within you, is not going to create it. In fact, it's going to help you uncreate it and then recreate the story. So what you would do is you'd bring it in. Oh, I'm really scared of a third party. Then you would look at, well, what am I afraid of? What's going on? And then what you will find is there'll be something in there that you're not giving to yourself, and you've suddenly fallen into the trap that reality is happening to you, that this person is the source of your love and your worthiness and your validity and relevance and beauty and all of these things. And you'll realize by affirming and bringing into the spotlight that story that you're afraid of, you'll see that actually it's you doing that to you. You've forgotten you in this, and you've forgotten that you're the star of the movie, and then you've fallen into the trap of believing that reality is something outside of you happening to you. Nothing can happen in reality that first doesn't exist in consciousness. And so if you don't want something to happen, you don't want to resist it, you want to bring it in and then change it so it's not in consciousness. Then you know what you can change. Like if you know what the story is, and you've really acknowledged it and go, wow, I'm really telling myself a shitty story here, I've got a lot of these fears going on, then you can say, well, hang on a second, these are just assumptions. When you bring something into the light, it loses its power. You're no longer afraid of it because you've looked at it front on, you've turned the light of awareness on it, and you're going, wow, that's not really a great story I want to be telling, so I'm going to consciously choose a new story now. Now that I'm seeing it clearly, I'm going to choose a new story. So I just wanted to make this video to bring your attention to that which you are resisting and remind you that by you resisting it, you are affirming it. It's like an anti-affirmation. It's still affirming it, and that is what's going to get projected out. Whatever you're resisting, I mean, you've heard the phrase, whatever you resist persists. It's absolutely true, because that thing is coming at you. It wants your attention. As long as you're pushing it away, you can't get rid of anything. Everything is within you, and you are awakening to the everythingness that you are. And so anything that you're trying to push away, you're trying to push away yourself. And you're always going to come back and be like, nah, not until you remember that I'm part of you, I am you. And until you remember that this is you, like you're the star of the show, you're everything. That thing that you are aware of is going to continue to show up if you don't bring it into the light of awareness and acknowledge it and face it front on and be like, okay, this is what I'm terrified of happening. Write it down on your notepad, get it out. Write out the fear. I'm afraid, I'm terrified that so-and-so is going to meet somebody else and they're going to leave me. And why? It's because, oh, hang on a second, that's right. I've just placed them on a pedestal. It means I've left myself, I've betrayed myself because I've suddenly made them the star of my movie. And that's why I'm afraid that they're going to have a third person come in and reflect that back, because that's what I'm doing to myself. You will find when you acknowledge something, when you bring it into the awareness, that it is revealing something that you're doing to yourself. And then you'll go, oh, wow. That's awesome, because now I know that I've left myself, I abandoned myself, I was betraying myself by putting this person on the pedestal and believing them to be the source of my love and happiness. Oh, now I can bring the awareness and the spotlight back on me and realize and remember that they're just a support character in my movie and they have to show up to the script that I'm writing. So now that I know what I was doing, now I'm going to write the story that I really want to be affirming. And then I am going to affirm that, and I'm going to affirm it from a place of centeredness and groundedness and love and joy, rather than this, I don't want that to happen, I don't want that to happen, and that pushing away. Keeping in mind, you can never get rid of anything or anyone. It's all you, awakening to you. So I know that doesn't really make sense in a logical way, but it is absolutely true. It is absolutely literal. This is like reality. It's the reflection reflecting you back. Nothing can show up in reality that first doesn't exist in consciousness. So if you don't want something to show up in your reality, then bring it into consciousness first before it manifests. And then change the story in consciousness, and then affirm from that place of groundedness and centeredness and equilibrium, the one that you want to experience. Resistance to something is the affirmation of it. Just keep that in mind when you feel that resistance come up. And also remember, do not be afraid of yourself. You can change anything in any moment. Anything that's been created can be uncreated. Anything that hasn't been created can be created. And anything that is in the process of creation can be recreated right now by you bringing that resistance into focus, bringing the story out into the open, and then changing it from that place of awareness. I hope that helps. Please remember, as always, you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you and for me too. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and comment. And if you'd like to subscribe, I would love to have you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.